It's your weekly breakaway for fun conversations on pro cycling. Come and join us for another ride in the team bus. I'm Matt Harper, and together with my brother Justin, we'll do deep-ish dives on professional bike races, teams, riders, and all sorts of cycling-related stories. And we might just sprinkle in some other shiny pop cultural objects along the way. So jump in the saddle and tighten up those shoes. The road awaits. Allez! Hello and welcome to the Team Bus. I'm Matt and this is my brother Justin, and today on the bus it's back to Adelaide for our recap of the men's Santos Tour Down Under, which concluded yesterday in Australia with nail-biting drama and much-needed redemption. We'll also recap yesterday's men's Clasica Comunitat Valenciana, which pitted an older champion versus a newer one with surprising results. And we'll review the 3 races of the women's Mallorca challenges, which served up some great racing in the wild and gorgeous environs of those stunning islands. We'll also have a quick news roundup, and as always, we'll finish it up with more down under adventures in the Broom Wagon. Allez! Welcome to the show, and I am ready to get into some serious race talk because we got all kind of racing happening this week. It is on like Donkey Kong. Multiple races to discuss, including what I thought was a pretty darn great edition of the men's Tour Down Under. Was not the Sam Welsford show as it's been in recent editions, although he does make an appearance at one point. So let's get into it. We started this year with a prologue. Before we even get into that, though, I just want to say loving that this is on Peacock. Loving that we got Phil Liggett on the call with Robbie McEwen, and for some stages they get that other guy in there,
Matt Keenan.
Yeah, Matt Keenan. What can you say about the coverage of this race? I have notes throughout the different stages, but my God, like
The broadcast in general is just very, very good.
phenomenal job.
They do a wonderful job of giving you a little bit of everything as far as the coverage is concerned. The use of the drone photography. I hope it is a sign of things to come, because they do a really, really good job with the drone footage in this particular race. It's all in pretty good high def. That was the one thing that I noticed about the drone photography in this race versus races in previous years, is that it looked really, really good. And whoever was running it was doing a really good job of like tracking the peloton when they were using it. So it was, that part of it was great. But the only thing I wish we had access to that mega wall. When they would bring up the mega wall and show you like all 6 camera angles at the same time. I wish I could have had that.
What we were watching, there was something last year where like that was an option or something.
I believe in the Giro they had something like that.
Was it the Giro? Yeah. I never used it, but it is pretty cool. One thing that I think I figured out because of the mega wall was that I think what they do with the drone is it's kind of in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
And
or
like
spots.
One spot like along the course, and right. As the riders come through, the drone goes and films the riders going through that like general area, but that once they're through there, it's kind of off doing its thing, because there was one time when they went to the mega wall and the drone was just like showing shots of the nearby winery on top of the hill or whatever. So that would be my guess. I would imagine that the day will come when there's a full-blown drone part of the the entourage that's following around behind the peloton, where like you would just get like a constant drone option for the producers of the show. But we'll take what we can get. I did think the quality of the photography from the drone was a little bit higher, as you said, although still not the definition that you get from a massive camera affixed to the bottom of a helicopter.
Correct.
But it's just getting
And
better and better.
I will say, whoever was operating the helicopter was damn good because there were some really, really, really great shots. And even so much so, there was one that Phil commented on where they were like tracking them on this like slight uphill, and it was like it must have just been hovering right there beside them because you got this great like aerial side profile shot of the peloton just like going up the hill, and
Yeah.
like you could get the angle of the hill because the helicopter was level. It
Hmm.
was really
Hmm.
cool, and it was so cool in fact that Phil made a comment about like, oh wow, that helicopter pilot's really good or whatever he said.
Well, while we are on the subject of Phil, and again, this is a note from like much later on, but I, I can make the point now. Um, Phil Liggett is in incredible form right now. Like there have been times in the Tour de France when you were really like asking yourself, like, should this guy still be doing this? He's forgetting stuff, and Bob's correcting him on names and stuff. He seemed so freaking sharp in this thing.
I
I mean,
agree.
the guy's in his 80s. Uh, and he was providing insights. He was getting all the names right. It's quite clear that he is still like doing all of the legwork that he needs to be doing. Like he knows what is going on with these riders, these teams, et cetera, et
Hmm.
cetera. Um, it seems as though he's been coming to Australia for years and years because he seems very familiar with the surroundings. So, and I really, really loved how sweet he was to Robbie McEwen during, I think it was during stage five. Stage five was a very long stage, the final stage. Um, and at one point he started talking about like Robbie's Palmares. I stuck his Robbie McEwen's top results from
Hmm.
PCS in my notes. I don't know if you saw it
I did.
or if you caught this
I
particular
saw it as
detail.
I was scrolling. I try not to stop on your notes when I'm scrolling down.
But the symmetry that this man has in Grand Tours is breathtaking. He won 12 Tour de France stages, 12 Giro d'Italia stages, and 12 Vuelta a España stages. That's sick.
That is pretty sick.
He's in the Grand Tour stage winner club 12 times. Absolutely sick. Not to mention won the green jersey in the Tour de France 3 times and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, Robbie's great. Robbie's always making dad jokes. Phil was even making jokes in this thing. Like he
Hmm.
was getting cheeky. Like he was I was just it was so refreshing to have a a Phil Liggett that was just seemed to be really really on the top of his game.
Yeah,
Um
and I like Matt Keenan too. I think he brings a lot to the table as well.
he
Like,
does.
like being your other kind of local guy. You know, he does a very good job of being a third to the two of them. And like I mean those two
Absolutely.
are Robbie McEwen's very very good and Phil Liggett is obviously a legend. So, it's big shoes to fill. And he acquitted himself very well.
Absolutely. I mean, Robbie is, I think, a little bit more international, and like Keenan really, really knows what's going on in the
Hmm.
Australian scene,
Correct.
like deeply, deeply. So he's uh uh he's a great addition there. Um, so someone on the cycling podcast called the Ineos gray shorts an abomination. Uh, I think it's starting to grow on me. I don't know.
I don't mind their new uniform at all.
It is distinctive, to
Yes.
be sure.
It's very
It
easy
is
to spot. Now, in
absolutely
this
distinctive.
particular race, it made picking out the ochre jersey a little bit hard, but
It
I
did.
think everywhere else for the rest of the year, they're going to stand out. And so I don't have a problem with it.
Interesting that the race organizers allowed them to retain that orange jersey for this thing because usually, famously,
Hmm.
EF always does a different style, a different color jersey in the Giro because its jerseys are pink and the
Right.
Giro leader's jersey is pink. So, I did want to make another note before we really get into analyzing the racing here about um, the race organization. Did you catch in stage five early on? They were talking about like how the race is run there in Adelaide.
I guess
Like,
not.
I thought this was fascinating. So apparently, all of the teams, everybody on all the teams, they all stay in one hotel. So I think they take over this one hotel for like 2 weeks, right?
Interesting.
For the women's and men. So everybody on the teams, I mean, it's got to be a huge hotel. It must be able to hold 300 or 400 people because that's how many people you're talking about when you're talking about all of the teams and the Swannies and the mechanics and the DSs and
Mm-hmm.
everybody. Um, all the teams stay in one hotel. Very near to the hotel, but kind of on the edge of town, they set up like a massive area where all the teams have like their their mechanics and stuff because they don't bring team buses to this thing. Um, it'd just be too much to try to bring team buses all the way to Australia for this thing. It just so
Right.
they're working out of pop-up tents and probably vans and stuff like that. But
So you assume that they're like air freighting out like crates of bikes and all that kind of stuff, and then
yeah, or
yeah,
probably like cargo, big like cargo boxes or whatever. I'm not
right.
exactly sure how that goes, but I'd love to find out. So the mechanics are all in one area, so they have like it's like they can wake up at the hotel, get breakfast, and then go over to the area and get everything going for the bikes. And I'm sure that area is very accessible to the start areas. And I think that basically, you know how in the beginning of the stage, like O'Grady is like up in the stand thing, like the
Hmm.
podium area, like announcing, and he announces the start, and then he must somehow like run and jump in the car because he's the one also flagging it to the beginning, but he's there sort of saying take off. So the riders start in the neutral zone and then they follow the car. Well, apparently each day, because it's five separate stages, but each day they roll out of Adelaide and like go in a different direction and do some kind of essentially a loop and then come back. So when you go to do this tour, there's one hotel stay, like one hotel check-in. There's one places where you're doing your bikes. I mean, it is like managed so well. And yet we get all of this different variety of racing. You know what I mean? We get sprint finishes, we get climbs, we get all everything you could want in a tour, and yet it's all happening out of this one central location. So couple that with how well they were able to make the pivot on stage four, I guess it was.
Hmm.
The what was to be the one longest stage, which we'll get into. Um, Kudos to that organization. They're absolutely slaying it, and let's hope that some of these American organizations that are starting to come into their own take a page out of their playbook because it's really pretty impressive.
Yeah,
And
for
that's to
one
say,
of the smaller, I mean, I might even say that is the definitely the furthest away, most isolated, world tour level race that you have.
mhm,
They do a wonderful job. Now, it's a testament probably to the fact that like the more organized they are, the more likely they are to like bring in top tier talent. And I know that I heard at some point this week that they are 100% courting Tadej Pogacar. They really want Pogacar to come to the Tour Down Under.
that
And,
would be cool.
I mean that it's a definite goal of theirs. So, and
I could see him doing it like later in his career.
oh, absolutely, why not?
Um,
But my point being that to having this hyper sense of organization will only benefit them to being able to pull in top level talent year after year.
yeah, yeah. Well, they're like 20. This is like year 26 in a row, so they're absolutely just going strong, and it seems like it's just getting better and better. So,
Hmm.
um, good on them. Hopefully, they add a few stages to the women's side of it. But a great race. Um, so let's get into it. Stage one, we had a prologue. So we
Hmm.
had a little like 3.6 kilometer, 4 minute long sprint of a prologue, cross tailwinds, pretty windy at the start. Um, Vine was kind of he was one of the favorites. And because the course was so short, like there was zero margin for error.
Yes.
And if you noticed, he Vine kind of blew it around two corners towards the finish. He just started kind of cutting in a little too early and had to like alter his course. And I mean, it's like
That was all
your
it
chance
took.
at a win is
Yeah.
gone in the blink of an eye. So we got a win from Sam Watson from Ineos Grenadiers, which they had to have been thrilled to start their first race of the season off with a win and already get their dance card punched. And then
And
Ethan Vernon.
it's great for Garrett. Garrett was there, so
Oh, we're going to talk about that for sure. So, uh, yeah, and then we had Vernon taking second for a Great Britain 1-2, and Lawrence Pithy slid in for third.
yeah. Vine did end up in fourth.
Yeah, and Vine did get fourth. So he was what was going on with his? Did you catch his face in they had like a pre-recorded segment, I think, and he had like scars on one side of his face and looked like he had like creases from his bed sheets on the other side. I don't know what was going on. It was
You know
weird.
what it
I
could.
also had a
You know what it's probably a CPAP.
why?
You may have, you know,
Hmm,
deviated septum or sleep with the CPAP.
could be.
If you're saying that they were like here.
Well, he had like scars on one face, but then he had like a line kind of coming down his face on the other side. Maybe he
Yeah,
does
but
sleep with a
what
CPAP.
you're seeing as scars may be some sort of air apparatus.
Hmm. No, these looked like he had cut his face somehow. Like
Yeah,
they were
I
like
don't
two
know.
little like bloody spots. But anyways, um, I have a note in here that the Alpecin Premier Tech kit is about as mad as it gets. Like that kit's just so boring. Um,
I want to get into kits in a larger way. So if we could maybe let's table kit talk until after the race talk.
Sounds good.
Because I want to talk women's kits, I want to talk men's kits. I got a lot of kit talking.
That's cool. Ineos was basically trying to go from Sam W to Sam W from the prologue to stage one because stage one was set up to be a field sprint, and they're hoping that we can go from Watson to Welsford, Sam to Sam tomorrow. So first first stage one, they got this great parkour, three trips up Mangler's Hill, with an average of 3.9 and a max of 13.3. However, it was looking like most of the sprinters would be able to handle all of this and get in there to be sprinting at the end of it. Um,
The
break the
first interesting thing was in the first intermediate split, they Narvaez actually went for extra seconds. All right, which really made a statement to me early that UAE was, they're looking for the win. You know what I mean? They came out quick early and, in a seemingly, a spot where you would not necessarily do it. They were out there grabbing 3 bonus seconds right off the top.
Yeah, 3 points and three bonies. I thought that was an interesting statement that they were making. Jonathan Narvaez is, of course, the defending champion here.
Hmm.
So the break of the day gets established. You got two guys from Groupama FDJ, Guillaume Martin and Enzo Palani, a guy who I came to fall in love with over the course of this race, which I'll get into.
Well, and
Uh,
then their third is just like one of the most combative riders of this entire race is Uhrenstadt.
Yeah, Martin Urianstad from UnoX Mobility, who basically was omnipresent throughout this race, starting from stage one right here. He was out by himself for a short while, but he got joined by the
Hmm.
Group Ama duo. Um,
The saddest part of this stage was that the poor kid from the Australian national team, Matt Greenwood, trying to catch up to them, getting within like 12 seconds, and then
he got so close, the poor
so
guy.
close. It's heartbreaking.
So I do love the way this Aussie team they enter an Australian national team in their home race, their home stage race, and I love how the Aussies are always kind of seem to be always in the mix and going for it. We saw a lot of the Australian jersey from a couple of their guys, including Greenwood. Um, I loved, there was a really, really great shot at 86.7 of the Peloton riding across the Barassa Australia logo that was on the street. And it was just like another thing about this race is like they are so good at showcasing Australia, and especially like the McLaren Vale area there, in the Barassa Valley. There's another cool shot where they go past this field that someone has just carved an absolutely perfect McLaren Vale logo into that features prominently. Um, so Ineos, Visma Lisa Bike on the front of the race all day. Ineos is working for Narvaez, of course. Lisa Bike working for Matty Brennan, who is the team leader here.
Ineos is working for Welsford, not for Narvaez.
Well, yeah, for Welsford, you're right. And I thought, you know, Brennan kind of had his work cut out for him at this race because they sent a very, very inexperienced Visma Lisa Bike team to this race. I mean, there's a bunch of rookies, and I think
His biggest problem this week was the fact that he just didn't have good lead outs. Like, they did a good job of maintaining pace, controlling the front of the peloton, being present, at the front of the race. However, when it came down to the actual bunch sprints, it didn't even seem like he had a chance to even freelance. They were getting out of position early, and then especially like if we go to the end of this first official stage, they are in good position 5-6 kilometers out. By the time they get 1K out, they're way far back, they're way out of position, and then once the sprint starts, he's so far back, he's basically seems like he's going to be a non-factor. And he has to literally launch himself around everybody to be able to manage getting where he did.
All right. Let's get back to that because I have a few more notes from earlier in the stage. Basically, they had four guys out in front: Oriana Stad, the two guys from Groupama, and Greenwood kind of tagging behind him, which meant that all the bonies are going to be taken out for the peloton. And it appeared that they struck a deal. Guillaume Martin gets the sprint points. Oriana Stad gets the KOMs, which works well for Oriana Stad. Especially Van Poppel, Brennan Welsford, no trouble getting over the climbs. Did you catch the trailer that somebody had next to the race that looked like the nose of an airplane?
Mm-mm.
I was like, wow, that is amazing. Like they had a straight up like pickup truck with this massive trailer behind it, and the trailer looked like the nose of an airplane. I think it was advertising like an airline company or something like that. Thought it was interesting to see Chris Harper riding for the Australian team. He's on Q36.5, and they were not participating in the race. So kind of cool how they're just like, yeah, cool, go on down, be on the Australian team. Like Europe, it's all good. Go with our blessing, I guess. And at one point later in the race, in a later stage, he gave us a brief moment of like, oh, could he, would he, oh my God, could this happen? But it was not to be. And then one thing I wanted to note, we started seeing the graphics package here, so good. So did you notice how the way that they would detail out the climb before the climb started? I absolutely love this.
Yes.
Well, the first thing they would show. The first thing they would show is like the sort of like 3D Google Map kind of graphic of like the line moving up the hill. But then when they got to the top of it, like the last like half kilometer, it would go to an actual helicopter shot of the actual road itself, and you would see like exactly what the road looked like, not just a virtual Google Map looking thing, but the actual photography. I'm like, sick. That's better than they're doing it at the Tour de France. That's better than NBC.
There's a lot of things that they're doing better at this race than the Tour de France.
I mean, just incredible. And then they would flip to the side profile thing where of like the entire race, and that thing was just fantastic. Like the detail on that, it would show you where the different positions of the different groups are on it. I mean, just like top notch graphics. And then the other thing that I love about the graphics, and this came into play big time on the final stage, is how in like
when you're watching the Tour de France, they'll show you like a team. Like, here's the Ineos Grenadiers, and it'll show you like a little icon for each of the riders of the team. And if one of them has left the race, they'll usually kind of like gray it out. Tour Down Under, boom. If you dropped out of the race, you're
You're
not even in
gone.
that anymore.
Yeah.
So they're showing, and like as we
UAE,
saw in
5
75,
riders. Yeah.
we saw that thing get smaller and smaller. So super cool. I love the way they do that. I love the way they do those
They also
climbs.
do
It
a
was
really
just
good job of letting you of keeping you informed of who's in the break.
yeah,
Much better than other
really,
races.
really, really good.
Yeah.
And what we saw is on the final climb, Oriana Stad hung on to get the final KOM points. He's going to be in the jersey the next day. And our guy Palani, I love this guy. Palani takes off solo immediately after the climb, but gets caught. This guy had an interview, which I'm going to get into later in the coverage, that was so great. Crazy sprint. It all comes back together with 7 kilometers, and now we're all just kind of like lining up for a sprint. And you're thinking Welsford, Brennan, Van Poppel, or Vernon. Like, it's got to be one of those guys. And as it turns out, it was
Tobias Lund Anderson.
it was not one of those guys.
So this is a guy that won races last year. All right, showed really good form in 2025. He is on in my opinion, he's on the next or the newest super team. I'm not even going to say the next super team. He's on a super team. All right. People need to mark Decathlon. All right. 100%. Yeah. They have
Decathlon, CMA, CGM.
I'm sorry. I can't do it with all the letters. They have good coaching. All right. They have a stable of very, very good riders. And this is a case where nobody marked him out, and he was able to get the better of them. I doubt it happens for very long. All right, this is a team, especially when you know what I mean. If their lead out for Tobias Lund and Anderson is this good, imagine what their lead out's going to be like for Olav Koy.
Oh yeah.
All right, so mark it down right now. This is a team to watch. 100%. They get it started early. All right. They completely shock the entire, peloton with a win right on stage 1.
Yep.
Now, that being said, Brennan, for where he started this sprint to where he ended this sprint, deserves a ton of credit. All right. Because he was basically out of it and then was able to come around and almost take the win. Didn't quite get there, but he did end up in second.
Yeah, and I will say, even though we just mentioned about how inexperienced his team was and that he wasn't getting a great lead out throughout this race, he had 2 guys in front of him that shepherded him from like 2 kilometers to go up to about like 1.5 to go. Up to like 1 kilometer to go, and then he got pinched. We discussed this off mic like earlier this week. They were doing a really good job moving him up. So I am not like, I think walking away from this whole race, like Visma Lisa bike does not have anything to be regretful about.
I think those lead out guys need more seasoning. They need more.
Yeah, and
more
that's
reps.
exactly why they're there.
Okay.
So I think it was kind of smart. I think it was kind of smart to send the team that they sent because they still got results out of this race. It forced Brennan to work for himself a bit, but it got these guys,
because that was the big problem with their sprint, was that they started really well, they finished really poorly, as far as they let themselves get moved out of position, and because of that, then Brennan had to freelance a bit. Had they been able to hold that lead out a little bit better, a little bit longer, the results for Brennan probably would have been even better.
Yeah, I agree. Andreessen got a terrific lead out. I loved his interview. Mm-hmm. He's on the new team, as you mentioned. He shouted out his teammates. He also shouted out his, quote, super fast bike, which is interesting to hear a guy say. I mean, there really is a difference in in bikes in some of these teams. And you get on a super team like Decathlon and all these other super teams, they are riding the absolute like best bikes money can buy, and it shows. And I love that he said, quote, "You need to be a little bit stupid to be a sprinter." That's what he said in his interview. That cracked me up.
Couple that with Brennan's interview at the beginning of the next stage too.
You'll have to enlighten me, but at the end of this stage, Andreessen went into Ochre. Sam Watson was in second. Ethan Vernon was in third, and Matty Brennan was down in sixth at the end of stage one. Stage two, an incredible stage. The starter's car, I noticed, Gulf livery.
So it is Gulf livery by accident. All right, that is so the N line Elantra is like the flagship Elantra. That is their like electric blue color, which is the catalog color for that car, and then all of the stuff for the Tore Down Under is orange. So it is Gulf livery by happenstance,
by accident. Yeah, I love it though. All right, so stage two, big climby stage. This is where we are expecting to see the fireworks for the GC. Starts off immediately out the gate with the climb of Norton Summit, and we get a 4-man break, including the erstwhile and ubiquitous Martin Urianstad of Uno X. He's in the green King of the Mountains jersey. And then he's got Jensen Plowright, Joel Suter, Lucas Stevenson with him. Gets joined by a couple of other guys, including Pepijn Reinderink, who comes into play as he ends up being Urianstad's big challenger to the polka dots jersey. And Storm Ingebrigtsen is in there as well.
This kid can race. Ingebrigtsen was a revelation, man.
Yeah. Reinderink on the first KOM takes out top points with Urianstad in second. I thought it was interesting. It didn't even look like Urianstad like challenged him. Like he did not look like he had the legs. And you're thinking, all right, this thing's going to be a contest.
So
of course,
Phil dropped a nugget at 74.1K or 74.7 when Irene the Devil made an appearance.
Yes, Irene the Devil.
Did you make a note of this?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I did. Irene the Devil. So I guess Didi the Devil from France has got a Australian counterpart
named Irene,
who's a female. Absolutely love it. We got some amazing photography at 130K to go of the observation tower on Mount Lofty. It just looks so freaking cool. They took in the corkscrew climb on this stage a couple of times, and as
was
we'll
featured
recall,
in the women's race.
Yeah, as we'll recall from the women's race, some of these pitches are like 16% on the corkscrew. Heading into it first time, Narvaez got a mechanical, so there was a kind of a crazy moment there, but he got back in. And once again on the first ascent, Reinderink took top points on it with Urianstad in second. He must have not been doing anything on stage one because I believe Urianstad maintained this jersey throughout. But interesting to see this guy out there taking down.
Well, you got to remember that he wasn't a factor in the break, and there was 3 guys out in front of the first stage, so they gobbled up everything the whole way through.
Yeah, that's true. After the climb, the brake starts going out again. And also, Plowright is a sprinter, and yet he was in that break. So I'm thinking he's looking for intermediate sprint points because they got an intermediate sprint at 60 kilometers to go. But in the end, Plowright did not feature in the sprint competition, I don't think.
He was given the sprint there, like the one that happened around 80 or 90K, somewhere in that area. But that seemed to be the only time it popped through.
Yeah. So just before my last note before the final climb, the downhill into the climb was absolutely epic. Like the environs were just amazing. It was just like this wild coastline and just looked so cool. You had you had Lund Anderson in the ochre jersey leading the peloton onto the final climb, makes that left turn. It looked really, really cool. He's just like, out there in front with the jersey. Obviously, he's not going to be a feature on
Yeah.
the climb, so he's going to try to set it up. But wow, talk about perfect team tactics from UAE on this climb. You want to talk us through it?
I mean, essentially, Jay Vine threw the tow rope out to Narvaez and towed his ass, whatever it was.
Well, but before that, you got an incredible setup from Adam Yates.
Oh, yeah.
Like
You're right.
you got a small group going up this thing, and Yates is like, allow me to destroy the peloton right now and get this down to the only 2 or 3 people that are going to even come close to being able to challenge you. So Yates destroys the peloton. As soon as he's done, Narvaez and Vine are coming around him, and like nobody else,
No.
basically.
Nobody can hang with it. Vine essentially, like I said, put the tow rope on, grab Narvaez and drug him along for 14K.
Yeah, as Phil Liggett put it, it was a demonstration of superiority by UAE, which is exactly what it was. I mean, they get the gap up to like 25 seconds with 12 kilometers to go. Narvaez is on the ropes. He's just like rocking and rolling back there, but the gap keeps going up. They're 30 seconds at 10.7.
Yeah, it looked like at one point he might even get dropped by Vine, but it's like Vine backed off slightly just to kind of keep him on the wheel. But I don't think he didn't take a single turn through 13 kilometers.
No, it didn't need. I mean, Vine was clearly superior, but it was to their advantage given the rest of the parkour for the rest of the race to keep Johnny up there to have options. And not just, put it all on there. So yeah, Vine slowed down just enough to allow Narvaez, who is, he's a puncher, he's an all-rounder. Like he can get over climbs. He's not just a sprinter, as demonstrated last year when he won on Wollonga Hill. And so just great planning and great execution by that team. You had Harry Sweeney of EF trying to bridge solo, Tesfazian from Movistars trying to keep up with them. And what is Simon Yates doing? Just marking the chasers, just perfect. You know what I mean? Or not Simon Yates, Adam Yates.
The fact that he was able to control the front of the peloton for the 2 guys in front. I mean, Yates is is the star in my opinion of that team. You know what I mean? Yes, Jay Vine won, but Yates really made it possible for them to keep control of that race throughout, pretty much from this point all the way to the end.
Yeah, he is definitely earning his paycheck. It was just hilarious watching Narvaez trying to hold on to Jay Vine's wheel. It was cracking me up. They get joined. The chase gets joined by Mauro Schmid, who features in GC in this race. Marco Brenner and Filippo Zanna, but they have the gap up to 51 seconds at 2.9. It's looking like it's just going to be brutal. And I loved what they did at the finish line.
Yeah, they obviously give it to Vine and I don't understand how it's okay for Narvaez to kind of like, do this, but like if you take your hands off, but if it's a sprint and you take your hand and the second rider takes their hands off,
how do you not get that? There's nobody around.
I know, I get it, but it's just like, I find it ridiculous when a second teammate on a sprint team puts one hand up to celebrate their teammate that they just let out. Like, and they're going to fine him.
But that has literally caused crashes. Like, that has caused crashes. That is not a good thing to do. It is dangerous. Sitting up 12 feet behind your teammate when there's nobody else around and you guys aren't even riding fast. It's an entirely different. It is apples to oranges. But I liked how he set up. He gave a couple of claps, pointed to Jay Vine. Vine was quite obviously the strongest on that climb and deserved the win. He would have and could have dropped Narvaez easily, probably 10Ks from the finish if he wanted to.
Yes, early on.
So they did that. They did that very well. Of course, we get a huge shakeup in GC. Vine goes into Ochre. Narvaez is in second. Mauro Schmidt's in third. Harry Sweeney's in fourth, and Marco Brenner in fifth. And I like how on some of these some of these stages in the post race, you get the techno soundtrack, you know, in case you didn't think Tour Down Under could do it in terms of the audio. Yeah, we got you covered. Like we're gonna throw a little techno track in there as well. I mean, awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
no.
Amazing stage. Like I mean, they just masterclass.
Yeah, no. UAE just picking up right where they left off last year. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. On stage three, it was going to be a sprint, but long before we get there, I just want to again shout out the guy Polanyi. What's his first name?
Uh, is
Is it
it
Marco?
Enzo
Oh yeah, that's right,
Bellini?
Enzo. Yeah, Enzo Pollini. He and the guy Stroffer, who
Baptiste.
yeah, Baptiste Stroffer from Uno X, I believe, immediately off the front. And as soon as they go, our man Orion Stad sees
Right
them.
with him.
He goes, eyes on the prize. Visma Lisa bike bossing it on the run into Wickham Hill. These three are basically away all day.
Yep.
And
Until
V Stroffer,
16K. And
yeah,
that's when Jurgen Stad decided that he was gonna fade back into the peloton.
a great moment. Basically, I think they had another deal out there. In fact, you can bet on it. First sprint, V Stroffer takes max points. The other two put in no competition. Next sprint, V Stroffer takes it, and then Oriana Stad takes climb two. They keep working together. So it's like this is how you do it if you're in a breakaway, especially if it happens to be a situation where you don't have conflicting motives,
Yes.
because the one guy doesn't ever have to worry about helping out on a climb. Well, not helping out, but contesting a climb or contesting a sprint. So there's going to be no big burst of energy that he's going to have to put out. So he can just focus on getting in the groove and helping set that tempo and helping do
Yes.
that work. The other two are incentivized to push the pace because they want to
They
make
wanna
sure
grab
they
the
get
points.
all those points and everything. And that's how a comparatively smaller breakaway group of three can still get out there and win on the day. 'Twas not to happen, as we'll soon see, but great seeing how they were working together. That takes us into like 18 kilometers ago, as you mentioned, and Oriana Stad, having taken out all of the points on all the climbs, drops off. And what I've loved that they pointed out, Phil Liggett pointed this out, he only dropped off and waved goodbye to those two guys after doing a huge turn on the front. So I like how the guy's like, all right, guys, you're on your own now.
This is it.
You've helped me to get all these points today. So I'm going to get on the front and I'm going to empty myself for you two before I'm done. Class all the way. I just love that. Yeah, that was so nice.
So after that, it wasn't until about 9K to go when they started showing signs of getting caught, because that was the first time that it kind of flashed itself under a minute. And
And V Stroffer kind of drops off and Polanyi presses on, and then suddenly a kilometer later, V Stroffer's getting back on. An interesting point that you had to be paying close attention to notice: both of these guys are Frenchmen. One of them is named
Yes.
Enzo Polanyi.
yes,
The other one
he
is
is
named
French.
the other one is named Baptiste Stroffer, and they're both French. I absolutely love that, and that's going to come into play with something I want to talk about a little bit later on here in just a second. Remember that. 7.6. He's back on his wheel. They have 42 seconds on the peloton, and then they hang together. And at 3.4, he drops him again.
Yeah, that's when that's when V Stroffer cracked.
Yeah, and he's down to 30 seconds. and it really looks like he's going to get caught pretty quickly. At 2.9, he's only got 13 seconds. I mean, the peloton is like looming behind him, but they did one of those things where they let him dangle out there for a while. He wasn't pulling away, but they weren't getting any closer. But still enough time to just eclipse that differential in the blink of an eye. When the time is to go for it. They finally catch him at 2 kilometers with Visma Lisa bike up in the front, but Brennan's way far back on this one. Did you notice that?
I did notice that. I noticed that pretty much
around.
Everybody's trains were disorganized at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have a note at 1.5K that the trains are disorganized.
Yeah.
Brennan only had one teammate, and they caught Polini just under a K. And then I have a note that says Brennan is all alone. And Welsford had a great lead out going. All right.
Exactly.
Ineos had a wonderful three-man team rolling Welsford into this final.
Mm-hmm. Them and also Decathlon up there.
Yeah, Anderson.
Looking to help out. Anderson also had a great lead out going in spite of the chaos that was happening at 2Ks to go. So Welsford finally gets his win for this season, destroys the field. He was a good two bike lengths ahead.
And to me, it was all lead out. He had a much better lead out than just about anybody else in that group.
Yeah, but he was also super strong. I mean, that finish absolutely suited him perfectly.
Anderson got second, retains the blue jersey. Lewis Bauer of Groupama got third. And, to me, the biggest news of this is Brennan was a complete non-factor in this one. I mean, I don't even think he came in the top 10.
No, he did not. So that was kind of surprising, a bit disappointing. Welsford was desperate to get a win, as I mentioned earlier. He in a couple of previous editions here has won multiple stages. He was blanked up until this point, and it's stage 3. So
there was an interesting little turn on this. I don't know if you noticed that originally Vine came in 13 seconds behind Narvaez. And so there was a split, but it ended up being that he got caught up in a wreck, and so he ended up being on the same time as everybody else.
Yeah, 3-minute rule in effect.
Yep.
Everyone gets the same time. So Vine remained in the lead with 6 seconds on Narvaez and 1:05 on Schmid. Okay, so I got to take it back to my man Enzo Paleni. All right. Did you catch his interview?
Mm-mm.
It is 100% my favorite interview of the year. He has got such a youthful enthusiasm to him, right? He showed no signs of disappointment or regret at having gotten caught, mere single digit kilometers from the finish, et cetera, et cetera. He says right off the bat, I got a bunch of quotes from the guy. He says, "First, I like the art of the breakaway. I don't care about the polka dot jersey, the sprint. My goal, it's to go to the end." So he states it implicitly. I am a breakaway artist. This is what I like. I like the breakaway. And he says, I love that he says, I like the art of the breakaway. Right. So he mentions that he told Wiestroffer, the guy that was with him to the end, the day before, that they should go in the break together. He bumped into him at the end of the mixed zone. They're both French guys. They both speak French and are, can very well relate to each other. And he bumps into him. He's like, "Hey man, I'm going to the break tomorrow. You should come, but let's do this." And so boom, Wiestroffer, next day he's out there. And I mean, he makes it almost to the end with them. He says the bunch catches me 800 meters to go. It's not the first time. Haha. It happened to me. So I'll give it a try. And again, I like the breakaway on the flat stage. It's always more interesting because you can play with the bunch, right? It's like you can alter your riding on the front on a flat stage to try to make the bunch do that. You know what I'm saying? You can let yourself get a little closer so they feel like they can ease up when you're actually feeling really, really strong or whatever. There's an art to it. And I love that this young guy is just like so dialed into it. He says, he says, and unfortunately, I don't go to the finish, but I'm sure one day it will pay. The man was in significant breakaways 12 times last year. I love this guy. So this is my new one to watch. Enzo Palani from what team was he on? I think he was on
He's
on FDJ.
Groupama, yeah.
Yeah. Love this guy. Let's give Enzo the last word, and we'll come back to talk about stages 4 and 5. Stay with us.
Don't miss Beyond the Slipstream, our weekly companion podcast to the Team Bus, our domestique, if you will, dropping every Saturday in your usual podcast feed.
All right, we're back, and stage 4 was the big news of the entire week, I'd say. Tell us what happened. We found out pre-race on Friday.
Yeah, so I was working on show notes, and I'm follow a lot of social media, and somehow I got word that there was going to be no Wollonga Hill climb before the race even started, and that it was going to start 55 minutes early. So not only did they alter the race course, which was due to extreme temperatures and possible risk of extreme fire, and so bringing all of the spectators in that up the hill was looking to be not a great idea, considering you have a lot of people and extreme risk for fire, high temperatures.
And Stuart O'Grady gave us a lot of details to that effect in his interview. I'm sure you are referring to that interview that he gave where he just like absolutely broke it down. He's like, yeah, I mean, when you take a look at this whole situation, that many people up a hill, there's only these many exit points.
Right.
There's
basically one way in, one way out type of situation.
He's like, it's like an absolute no-brainer. And I love that they did it. It's obviously hugely disappointing
Yes.
that happened.
It is the iconic climb of this race. To take it out is a big deal.
And
they were going to do it 3 times.
Right. They were going to do it 3 times. It was going to be the greatest one ever. They didn't do it in the women's. And so we are just, everything is pointing towards this day. And it's a non-event. And you have got to hand it to that organization that like at game time, they're ready to go. I mean, all the graphics, everything's different. They got the whole new course tricked out. And I think that is them being able to do that as a function of what I was talking about earlier, about just how good that organization is. And they're not dealing with the new hotel and the new location and the new way. You know what I'm saying? It's just like something that has to be managed. And they've already they know all these roads.
I think that they were decisive about it, and being decisive about it gave them the time ahead to be able to pivot successfussyfootly. All right.
And it was seamless.
They saw the risk, they assessed the risk, they decided to make a change, and they didn't, pussyfoot about it. They just fucking made the change, and they moved on, and, it's a testament to the region. It's a testament to the race organization. It's a testament to the first responders and the police and all of the volunteers that, they had to change things and make major adaptations to the race course and still provide a good product. And with less than 12 hours to put all that together, they did a wonderful job, and they all deserve, a round of applause for how well they handled a situation that literally changes the face of the race.
Right, and it's it's the kind of thing where something bad could have happened but didn't, because that, and like history remembers the bad things that happened, but. You got huge kudos for making the right decision.
Absolutely.
What it caused though was a complete change in race tactics, because this is an entirely different finish now, and looking very much like it's going to set up as a sprint finish, which just changes everything. And now all these sprinters who were going into that day thinking that they were just going to try to struggle to get through this thing and be able to sprint one more time on the 5th stage, are like, oh wait. Now I've got 2 more chances at a win in 2 days. So it
completely changes the tactics. So it's the race starts an hour early. It's truncated by I think like 30 kilometers or something like that. I think they cut it back. Um, I have two notes from like way early in the stage. There was a great drone shot at 129, but then the big news was there was a wreck at 127K. UAE's Narvaez went down and it looked bad and it knocked him out of the race.
Yeah. That's the other
Very sad.
huge news from this stage is the crash and abandon of Yanni Narvaez. He ended up with like a spinal fracture, I believe,
Yeah,
like
and maybe a collarbone
vertebra,
too.
fractured vertebra. I don't think it was a collarbone. I think it was fractured vertebra. They said the next day, which blows. You got to feel for him. I mean, UAE, I can't imagine they're going to suffer too much from it as a team, but he's not. It's not nothing, and really sucks for him. Of course, you're looking at that, and at this stage, you're like, Vine's not going to have any problem, closing this deal. Like
No, he's got such a lead at this point that it's he just has to really get there healthy, which will factor in stage 5. But hold on, we'll get there.
right. Well, it's just crazy. This stage is like crazy thing after crazy thing. I mean, this race, it's just crazy thing after crazy thing happening.
So one of the cool things that happens on stage 4, Matt Greenwood, who did not make the break in stage 1, all right, sadly enough, came within 12 seconds, but didn't actually get there. Matt Greenwood gets into the break with Remy Cavagna and Luke Plapp, and they just squeak their way out of the peloton and into the break, and eventually take that break out to as much as 3 minutes.
Over 3 minutes at 85 kilometers to go. Plapp is in here, obviously looking for some redemption after the national championships debacle, when he basically not only did he cost Jayco the win, but they had 3 people. They got beaten at 3-on-1, basically. And then has been Remy Cavagna out there, and I think Cavagna was the first to fold, right? Mm-hmm. So they had the climb of Lower Wollonga in this race, but it was absolutely like no bit of steepness.
Yeah, it's not like regular Wollonga or Upper Wollonga, whatever you want to call it.
Right. There's also a huge crash at 83.9 with crosswinds factoring. UAE is kind of involved, but Vine is okay and back in the bunch. Crazy winds. They're going along the beach road. It's freaking gorgeous out there. Gap is sort of yo-yoing. I think it goes down to like 2 minutes, but then they get it back up to like 2:41. Plapp's taking points and seconds. Cavagna rolls with like 48K to go as they're once again coming back around and heading into the crosswind section. He's just like, holy crap, this is going to be horrible. Gap goes down to 131 as they go past the McLaren Vale logo carved into the field. And it's so at this point it's Greenwood and Plapp, right?
Yes, that's all that's left.
Yeah, Greenwood takes out the KOM points. Goes for a bottle. They had did you notice he missed that bottle? And I'm like, oh, that's gonna cost you, buddy.
Yep.
It's gonna cost you. It's hot out there.
Well, and that was one of the things too, that they were like, they let these guys feed until like way deep in the race. Well, and yeah, I mean the heat obviously is the factor there.
I mean they get caught up by 23 kilometers to go, but like they let them dangle for several kilometers, like while they were in the.
Well, what I was going to say is that like getting those bottles was so important that day. It was so hot, and so missing even one bottle is just going to crush you, because it's so hot out there, and those guys were just it's unbelievable. I mean, it was close to 100. You know what I mean? It was well into the 90 degrees.
Right. So with the crash of Yanni Narvaez and the abandon, Mauro Schmid is now up to second place. And to his credit, he cheekily tried to sneak out and grab the win on the second sprint, but he gets bested by Andrea Raccagni Noviero of Sudal Quickstep. But at least he is trying to animate things. He's still sitting almost a full minute behind Jay Vine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, every second counts, right? Just ask the bear. UAE's on the front, controlling it through like 22 kilometers to go. The temperatures are at 104 Fahrenheit, the equivalent. Good Lord.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
So I basically skip up to the sprint at this point in my notes.
Yeah, that's pretty much for me too.
Yeah, not a whole lot happened. They were just kind of riding into the sprint and keeping
Correct.
things fast on the front. Nobody's trying to break away through then. But another kind of chaotic sprint. There was that moment where Watson is trying to get Welsford through, and like you get that helicopter shot where people are just elbowing right and left. He's coming up, it's banging around, they're pushing it off each other, getting that room. It's crazy. It's like what's his name, Lund Andreessen said in his interview after stage one. You got to be kind of stupid to be a sprinter. Like, it's crazy.
Yes.
Crazy watching this. It's so nerve-wracking. So yeah, Watson manages to get up through there, but Welsford cannot squeeze through with him, and he ends up behind whoever it was that he was trying to get past there. Brennan, meanwhile, totally poorly positioned. He's got three teammates in the front, but he's like 10 positions back, boxed.
Yeah.
Dudes are just like flying past him.
Non-factor.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a literal non-factor in the sprint.
Does this guy not have legs? What's going on? How are all these dudes flying past him way faster? Like, why is he not going faster? That's what I'm thinking.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah. Lund Andresen is being set up perfectly on the front. He's got three teammates. He's got one's behind him, but like he is being led out and protected on all sides. And as Watson tries to move forward, Ethan Vernon is sitting on his wheel, and Lund Andresen is fading from this great lead out he was getting. And boom, Vernon's out of the slipstream. Nobody's catching the missile in the NSN jersey, doing the former IPT proud. And somehow, like, Lund Anderson manages to hang on as he passes him, gets second.
Yeah, and Vernon gets a great win. Brennan's a non-factor. Andreessen stays in blue. Yeah.
Lawrence Pithy sneaks in for third, not Dirty Danny.
Yes, which was weird. It looked like Danny wasn't. It didn't even look like Danny was even involved in the sprint at all.
I think, I think it was, I don't know, a little too tough of a day for him. Vine maintains Oka. Schmidt's in second, as I mentioned. Now Harry Sweeney from EF is on the podium in third.
And he is quietly having a great race. And
Indeed.
Especially in the leadership position for that team, which he has not been in the past.
Mm-hmm. And gave a very astute interview at one point, I think maybe after the fifth stage. He is a solid dude. He talked about how JV. What did he say? He said JV keeps calling me and telling me to go for stuff. Like to go for it. I was like, yeah, botters.
Yep.
All right, so stage 5. This is actually the when I made my note about Phil Liggett being on such good form. Like he was bringing it. Phil, love that man. I think part of it too. I think he has a comfort level with Australia because it is sort of a wild place in the same way that his now home of Africa is. Mm-hmm. He likes the wildlife. He's a huge animal lover. They were talking about dogs at one point, and
he made such a sweet comment to Robbie about dogs, where Robbie was talking about, I have a crackapoo or some shit like that.
Or something. Yeah, whatever.
And Phil goes, he goes, you can always trust a man with a dog.
Yes. Thank you for that. I did not make that note, but I think I remember him saying that. I think it was when I was like doing dishes and I wasn't making notes, but yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah. Just Phil Liggett. What an absolute just paragon of awesomeness. That this is also when they described the setup that the TDU has there.
So I pick up the race at like originally at like 92 92 or 93K. That's where I had turned it on. I left the room. I came back and they were like talking about something. And I was like, what the hell are they? So I go back, 8 or 9K. And that's when I see the at 95.5K, a kangaroo comes out and pummels the Peloton.
All right, wait. I have a couple notes before we get there.
Go ahead.
Did you catch when they were giving all that love to the female camera bike operator, Hani?
No, but that has
Oh
to
my
be
God.
in the little
Incredible. Like they were going through, it was when I believe the breakaway was going through the finishing area, because they were doing this circuit, so they would keep going through the finishing area with like the grandstand and everything. Um, uh, they they were, I don't know, they were showing the above shot or something. The camera bike was right behind the leaders, and it was like in the other shots of them. You could see, and like you could see the woman, and like they stand on the back of the camera. The camera operator is standing on the back of the bike. So, and you could just see her perfectly. And Phil Liggett identifies her, and he says he says she's a magic photographer. The riders like to know who's on the cameras. You earn your respect with the riders around the world, and Hani is on top of the list. Her dad was a camera operator. They all knew him back in the day, and now she's like taking the mantle. And Robbie is just like, oh yeah, she's amazing. Like, I mean, they all knew who she was. I'm like,
That's
love
that's
that
awesome.
these guys know who these people are. It's like so cool. Like what a cool world that would be to be a part of, even as somebody as sort of, unsung as a camera bike operator.
God, what are her knees like? Having to stand on the back of a motorcycle for
Crazy.
150 kilometers.
And I want somebody to walk me through the entire rig. Like, is that camera like on a perch, or is it only on her shoulder? So, what I mean? Is she holding that thing? I want to know if she's
I don't know. They're
cabled-
very
if she's
stable, so I
cabled
figure
onto
it's
the
got to
bike. Like,
have
does she
some
have,
sort of stability.
yeah, does
And
she have
then
some kind of,
she definitely has to be like, if she's standing that entire time, she's got to have something that like she can rest her back up against. There's just no way that she just stands the whole time.
yeah. So really cool. And there's another great moment that I'm going to talk about, but the break of the day gets established with Plapp, Stannard, and Einkorn. Um, and Plapp gets a mech, 100 and something, still 100 and something K to go. And very wisely, they let him back in because he is a big engine and he is motivated right now because of the aforementioned debacle. They end up losing 30 seconds, but it starts going back up again later on. So first time through the KOM, our guy, what was his name? The guy who ended up second, who beat Uriana Stad in a couple of those KOMs, like in the second stage. I can't remember what the guy's name was. He went out and got the first KOM. So basically, they set it up. They said Uriana Stad is far enough ahead that he's basically got this thing sewn up, unless the guy in second went out and won every single one of the climbs, of which I believe there were 4. And Oriana Stad did not score any points in any of them. So only in that happenstance could he lose that jersey. What happens? Climb number 1, the guy goes out and he wins it. It's like, okay, all right, interesting. But as they headed into climb 2, it was quite clear that that guy, I don't know if he fell off the back of the bunch or what happened, but he was not there to contest. And Oriana Stad was with the peloton and ahead of him. So he was clinching on that second time through. And you got to love cycling. He rides out in front of the group as they come through the finishing straight. He gets to give the crowd a nice wave. And it's just like, we salute you, sir. You have clinched, you have clinched the Mountains jersey. I'm just like, amazing. What a great moment. Got to love that sport. Then respect to Milano, who on the reduced UAE squad goes out there. He knows that he's not going to be able to figure in the finish of this race because job one for that team is getting Jay Vine to the finish line.
Yes.
Right. So Milano goes out there and puts in long, long kilometers on the front. I mean, I think Vine said in his interview that Milano did like three circuits in the front.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Him and Yates did a lot of that work.
I mean, that guy's a big, beefy sprinter. And he was out there all by himself on the front of that thing for just like ages and ages and ages. So, total respect for that. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, we need to create a new tracker. I realize this. This podcast needs to track something new, and that is race days in which both Jefferson Cepedas are racing in the same race. I suggest we call those days a Jeffy. We had another Jeffy, and then let's try to predict how many Jeffies we get at the end of the season, because I love the fact that there are two Jefferson Cepedas racing in this race. That will never cease to amuse me.
And they're cousins.
The Jeffy. Yeah, and their cousins. Movistar counterattacks at 108 as Pavel Novak breaks off the front of the bunch. He ultimately bridges up and joins the leaders, and then at 95.5, go.
Yeah, so at 95.5, the Kangaroo pummels the peloton. Jay Vine goes down.
I believe there were two Kangaroos.
Yes, there was two Kangaroos. And just like, the endless things that could possibly happen when a group of bike riders is just riding through the countryside. As Jay Vine puts it in his interview, they are the most dangerous thing that you have to contend with in Australia.
Yes. He was like, they sit on the side of the road
and
they wait until you're almost there, and then they dart out in front of you. I'm like, oh my God. It is insane that the guy who just won this giant race is talking about like having to dodge kangaroos. There's just something funny about it. They're kangaroos, for God's sakes. It's only in Australia. Like, it's as cliche as it possibly can get. And of course, Phil and Robbie are talking about, I've seen horses riding on the side of the road, but I've never said,
yeah. They're all taken aback by it.
And yet at the same time, like, it's very dangerous. It's very sad. It's very serious. Like, there's a lot about this that really blows. And Jay Vine goes down hard. This is the last day of the race when he is just trying to stay safe. They have lost
on
Narvaez.
A depleted team. Yes, he does not have a lot of help.
He lost Narvaez the day before in a very sad crash. He's out with a fractured whatever vertebra, and now they switch to the helicopter shot. First, Phil Liggett comes on. He's like, I'm just being told in race radio that because he was saying something else. Phil was saying something else. He was like, and Luke Plapp is that race radio is saying that Lucas Plapp is a little bit, and now I'm just being told in race radio that there's been a crash and there's a kangaroo. So we've heard crash and we've heard kangaroo. They switch to a helicopter shot, but there's a tree over top of the action, and we got to sit there and wait for like 5 seconds before this helicopter finally gets out of the way. And when he gets out from under the tree, who do we see but Jay Vine and a teammate both down as the kangaroo is scurrying off the side of the road.
Yes.
Unreal. In the live shot, we see the kangaroo right by Vine, and who was it that went down in the crash and ultimately left his teammate?
I don't know. I don't have it in my notes.
It was, I think I have it. We see the kangaroo like going away from them and running off down like the side road. In most of the replays, you only saw like a little bit of the kangaroo. So on the live shot, and it's like, holy crap. And once they start playing the replays, if you are paying attention, you can see quite clearly that Jay Vine goes down very hard on his left shoulder. And when he is back on the bike, there's definitely a good couple of minutes there where you're sort of like, is he going to be able to continue? Like, how bad did he hurt himself? Because they keep showing the helicopter shot is the only one where you can really see him. So you can't quite see what's going off with them. But as it turned out, it looked like he went down hard, but kind of came out of it okay. No major damage.
And the peloton slowed down for him, let him get back in.
Right.
Everybody, class act from the entire peloton that they didn't take advantage of it. They raced, very clean in that situation and
Yeah, it was
let everything come back together the way that they should have.
so it was Mikel Bierg who was taken out by the kangaroo. Um, Vine does get back to the peloton. Um, as, as you said, they waited up, but also you got to shout out his teammate Oliveira, who gives him his bike because Jay Vine must have been like, "There's something wrong with my chain, or something's wrong with this." Oliveira's like, "Take my bike." They take off. Now Oliveira's on Vine's bike, and somehow this man does some mechanical work while he's riding Jay Vine's bike because 2 kilometers down the road, they stop again and swap bikes back. And now Vine's like, "Cool, thanks, bro." Like the dude fixed his bike while riding it and keeping up with Jay Vine. That was amazing. I've never seen that before. So impressive. Yates drifts back to help out. The team's down to now 5 guys and possibly 4 at this point if Mikel Bjerg is going to be out. We don't know that yet. But by 92 kilometers, Vine's back with the peloton, but it's helped the breakaway, who are now 3:45 ahead.
Yes.
Crazy. Things settle down. Uh, we start to find out who else went out because of the kangaroo crash, which if you watch, by the way, if you watch the overhead shot, the big replay overhead shot that they showed several times, you can see another crash happening like way behind the J Vine thing. So I think there were 2 kangaroos. One of them probably darted left and one of them darted right as they came up to the road. And so these kind of 2 crashes happened simultaneously. And because of the speed of the peloton, there was a fairly large separation between where these 2 crashes
Right.
happened. But 2 crashes happened for sure.
And it was in like a wooded over areas. It was hard to see everything happen.
Exactly. So you had Menno Huising, a young Dutchie for Visma Lease bike, knocked out of the race. He was in 5th in the young riders at the start of the day, so that was a shame. He was one of those young, like inexperienced guys on Visma. Alberto Dayanese for Soudal Quickstep was out, and Lucas Stevenson for the Aussies.
Yeah.
So really sad. Bjerg, Milano out as well. Milano did that big turn, and then he just dropped. So Milano is gone. Bjerg now went out. Narvaez went out the day before. Jay Vine is down to 2 people, Yates and Oliveira.
Yes, that's it. That's all he has.
So
and Yates goes to work.
And in my notes, I'm just like, this shit is crazy. Like, wow. Like,
I believe the term super domestique was thrown about in reference to Yates many times throughout that stage.
Yes, absolutely. It was great. Also, they mentioned on there that World Tour teams can have a maximum of 30 riders on the team. I was somehow unaware of that, but that is the number. 30 riders each team can have. We mentioned how the icons for the riders who have left the race are gone from the little team display. And at one point, you saw a graphic with just 3 guys on UAE.
Yes.
3 dudes there. It was like the team display, and there's 3 guys over on the left-hand side. I'm like, that's crazy. And it kind of just gives you a better feel for the danger that this team seemed to be in. It just injected so much drama to this race, and it was because of a kangaroo.
Yes.
It's unreal. But so good. Anyways, they had the lead in the team competition, so now you're starting to wonder, all right, are they going to be able to maintain the lead in the team competition? They're wearing the ochre colored numbers from the lead of the team competition, so their jerseys are looking that much cooler. It's just the 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's like us against the world. You got Vine in the orange, the other guys have the orange numbers on. They're together. They're like, all right, guys, it's do or die time, man. We got to protect this lead. It was a lot of drama. So we're going into the final the final circuit. Crowds out in force. This is the end of the final day of racing on Sunday in Australia. The weather is like 15 degrees cooler than it was the day before. You got the dude in the Speedo holding the giant Aussie flag. Absolutely awesome going into the finish of this race. So as we are coming into the final lap, we get around 24K to go. Chris Harper shooting off the front of the peloton, trying to bridge up to the leaders. and I am just like filled with joy. Of course, we love Chris Harper because he's a Harper,
Yes, he
if
is.
for no other reason. And didn't he get a Tour de France stage win last year? He
Yes,
got a win and he
yes.
got a
Or
Grand Tour
no,
stage
was it
win.
a Giro stage win?
Yeah, maybe it was a Giro, but
Ooh, maybe
so
he got a
I'm
tour
loving
win
this.
too.
Would love to see him pull it off. And the as not only the group off the front with Stannard, Buitrago, Cepeda, Novak, and this young Slovenian from Alpecin, Gal Glivar. Not only when they come through the finishing, like the start finish area, but then the rest of the peloton shortly thereafter, it's crazy. Like it's nuts. Harper's in the middle and going hard as hell. The peloton comes through and it's just like chaotic and disorganized because they are going fast. And I'm like, all right, this final lap is going to be awesome. They hang on to their lead through like 10K to go. They got a 30-second gap. Romo's in a virtual third over Harry Sweeney at this point. Durbo moves up to the front. He's trying to defend Mauro Schmid's second, which is also under threat if this gap continues going in the wrong direction. However, Romo starts to lose contact with the group, 6 kilometers to go, and things start to fall apart, and it's looking like it's going to come back together for a sprint.
Yes, and it was stage 20 of the Giro for Chris Harper last year.
Gotcha. So the other Aussie, uh, Caden Groves, got stage 20 of the Tour, and that guy got stage 20 of the Giro. I love that. Yeah. So walk us through the sprint.
So coming in, my first thought on this sprint is that this is the first time in the week that Visma has looked to be in position going in. Everybody's very well positioned on this run in. All right, this is where I made the comment that the sprint looked disorganized the other day. It was very organized running in on this one, and this is the first time that I felt like coming into that pre-sprint 7 to 3 kilometers that Visma was really, really doing the best job that they'd done. They had been on the front, but this was the first time that they were really kind of controlling the tip of the spear. And, they really came in, hot as far as I was concerned. And so I was marking Brennan early on just from the way that they look, because that was different than all three of the other sprint stages.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. All right? What else? And you have other notes from the sprint? I ended up just kind of getting enraptured watching it and stopped taking notes. So
essentially they come in, it's a pretty straight on sprint. It's not a traditional sprint where you have 5 or 6 guys. It really kind of tipped out, and you had Brennan as well as Welsford, and they were kind of all Ineos and Visma were definitely leading the pack. When it gets into kind of less than a K, you had Brennan at like third wheel, and at some point he ends up his lead out ends up getting the Ineos rider in between him and his lead out guy, and which actually honestly worked out really well for him because he was in that third position. So once his lead out guy went off, he was really well poised to be in the slipstream of the rider in front of him. And Matthew Brennan did exactly what Matthew Brennan does and launched, went kind of off to the right of him, and just it was done. He was
I think he took a real quick lead out from Lund Andreessen. But was clearly had much better legs, and knew it. Red Bull Bora gets another podium, this time from Finn Fisher Black, who got second on that stage. kind of a surprise there.
It wasn't a surprise to me. My bigger surprise with Finn Fisher Black is that he wasn't in the mix more often this week. I mean, this is a big target race for him on a prestige team, and
Yeah, but he's there with Danny Van Poppel and Lawrence Pithy.
Yes, but I am surprised that he didn't factor into more of the race in general. All right, Red Bull just was there, but not they didn't take a stage win. They again, I'm expecting more out of guys like this in these races, because when we get into the big races deeper into the season, he's going to be in the domestique role versus the. So these are the times when riders like Finn Fisher Black, who's a very strong rider,
they need to like capitalize.
He
on
needs
their
to shine.
Yeah,
and that was really the first time that you'd seen him throughout the entire race, and he definitely needs to be there, and especially with it, considering that it doesn't look like Van Poppel was having a good week at all. So when the guy that you're seemingly riding for is non-existent, then you definitely need to step up. So, but it was good to see him finally get in the mix, because I really think he is a quality rider.
Yeah. Van Poppel was not involved at all.
No,
it looks like. Well, a fantastic race from start to finish. Maddie puts more points on my board in the end for me. So, of course, I'm thrilled to see it.
Congratulations on the first strike.
Thank you. He gets redemption for a pretty lackluster race up until that point. I mean, it completely turned it around, and I give him a lot of credit given the relative inexperience of his team. This is only his second year on the team, and he's a youngster.
Well, and there's a couple takeaways for Matt Brennan.
But
better than last year, so an improvement on the previous year at this race.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Comes in with in my opinion, much different team this year.
He was still off our radar at this point last year.
Correct, but he still had a second place in a stage, all right, at this race. That was our first kind of like, who's this guy? Second year, better performance, better results. He needs to take control of whoever's, he's now the guy. So he needs to be the guy, and he's young, but it seems like his demeanor, he has the ability to be decisive and to lead those guys. And so I think with a few more reps, these guys, especially in some of these, lower level races here in the beginning of the season, that, come the big time, he's going to be able to do something. And the kid has got massive power. So like, everybody, there's a lot of expectations on him because of how well he performed in his rookie year. I think that he understands it and that he's going to rise to the occasion. Do I think he'll get another 14 wins? I have no idea. That's crazy to think that he could do that 2 years in a row. So my expectation is not that high, but he did a lot with a little in this race, and they leave here, in my opinion, claiming this to be a success. And he's second on the points classification too.
He seems to be a very sort of serious and focused young man.
Yes.
He also seems to be kind of like not intimidatable. He does not seem to get intimidated at all. Like
no.
I think he has a vision of himself as belonging, 100% belonging in any race that he's in any sprint finish that he's in, and especially when he is the man, as you say. You know what I mean? He's the sprinter on this team now.
Yes.
And he will be getting much more firepower behind him in the weeks and months to come. So to see him go in there with confidence to this race, with a team of, with a ragtag team of unseasoned rookies at his disposal, one of whom got knocked out of the race the day before. He got he got some good lead outs.
Mm-hmm.
And he got himself a first and a second place out of 5 stages, so two podiums out of 5 with a win. And he started the year better than he did last year. Sky's the limit.
Yeah. And Visma knows, Visma's picking up quality riders. And so he's training his lead out team for the future. So, they want to see every possible combination and see who's strong and who does he work well with. And
I mean, one of these guys could emerge as his lead out guy.
Yeah, he could be his Morkov. His Morkov could be.
Yeah, his Morkov, his his Van Poppel.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Jay Vine gets the win, hangs on to it. Kangaroo or no, Jay Vine is not going to be stopped. And we get to have a look at my favorite family in the pro peloton as he comes across the line and rides straight into the loving arms of his wife, who's holding their child.
Yep.
We get a beautiful, beautiful little family moment. I love the Vines. I love the Van Arts. I love the Vingegaards. These are all wonderful pro cycling, top level pro cycling families that I really enjoy sharing these moments with. So good on Jay Vine. He becomes a 2-time winner, and I think he's part of a group of a couple of guys, but there's somebody won 3 or 4 of these. I think 4 is the record. So a great race. Great race. Anything else on the wonderful Tour Down Under?
No, I'm good. The men's year is now officially off to a very good start, and I look forward to the rest of it.
Yeah, and we do have one more Tour Down Under related bit of racing to talk about, so we will do that when we come back. Stay with us.
Don't miss Beyond the Slipstream, our weekly companion podcast to the Team Bus, our domestique, if you will, dropping every Saturday in your usual podcast feed.
All right, we're back, and it's the Women's Tour Down Under one-day race, which takes place on Wednesday, like 2 days after their main race ends. I think you put it best.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah. It
right.
needs. Why is this not just a 4th day of this race? And it's weird too because it's 94K, it's 12 laps, and it's essentially just a sprinter's race.
Yeah.
So why not? Why don't we just have a sprint day?
It just seems
what's
weird.
What's the point?
Yeah, I agree, and I'm going to assume that it's kind of near the whole the whole aforementioned Tour Down Under village that takes over Adelaide. I mean, so I just seems weird. No Ali Wollaston here, who was quite successful in the Women's Tour Down Under, as we discussed last time. But we did have Mackenzie Copeland, the new Aussie champion, and Lowe's Adahist, one of the great names of the modern peloton, off of the front early, working together well. We had Magdalena Valieres in the mix. Love to see the world champion. We got Amber Croc out there illuminating things.
Amanda Spratt's out there.
Exactly. The break gets caught, and suddenly Amanda Spratt's taking the sprint points. This is Spratty's last Tour Down Under, and she was getting lots of love from the commentary team. She's a much beloved Aussie cyclist, so certainly a big day for her.
So after Spratt, the first sprint went to Adagist, then Spratt grabbed the second. Did you see the fall for Tully Swartzen?
No, I did not.
Oh man, she took a nasty fall. I love that name though, Tully Swartzen. Josie Talbot grabbed a sprint. Nicole Steignega from AG Insurance grabbed a sprint. Vigilia grabbed a sprint.
I love seeing Alessia Virgilia out in front as they head into the final lap. She's got 20 seconds on everyone, looking for payback from last week when she spent an absolute eternity on the front of one of those races to get caught. But once again, she is caught with 4 kilometers to go, setting everything up for a bunch sprint. You want to take us through
Yeah,
it?
but what was neat was there was three going into that final sprint. There was three riders locked on 5 points for the sprint, and then Vigilia got the final sprint and won the sprint competition. So like she got it off of a 3-way tie, which is friggin' awesome.
True that.
All right. I marked out that Chloe Dygert was in a good spot going into the final, but that was not meant to be.
Nope.
A new one for me. I have literally never heard this name. Maggie Coles Lista.
Maggie Coles Lista. I think she may have been at the Maryland Cycling Classic last year.
Oh, really?
Maggie Coles Lista.
Maggie Coles Lista takes the win over Noemi. I always do this wrong. Noemi Rug and Marta Locke.
Miss Consistency, Noemi Rug, who just got fresh off of defending her Tour Down Under title, almost wins the
consolation race.
Yeah, the 1-day race. I mean, that really would have put the period at the end of the sentence for her. But as far as I'm concerned, Maggie Coles Lister taking this thing is an anomaly. She beat out everybody else who she needed to beat out. Nobody could have seen that coming. But hey,
that was
a nice
not
little sprint.
That was not all of the women's racing for this week, though. So, my final thought on this 1-day race is I don't understand. It's like a criterium that happened after the race instead of before the race, but was a 1-day race. I don't know. It seems
weird. Let's agree that there is probably an answer to this question
that we don't know.
We're going to find it out before the next show and get back to you.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. We're going to look into that. So yeah, other women's cycling happening in Europe on the island of Mallorca. It's the Women's Mallorca Challenges. All three of them, all available on Max, thankfully. Day one was Saturday, the Trophy Marazzi Puig de Sant Salvador Falantics.
All right. So the first thing I want to say about this real quick is I kind of love this like 1 hour race like broadcast that they do. I mean, it's like 2 hours, but it's like essentially an hour of racing and like an hour or 40 minutes of like, you know, the after stuff. But I kind of love it because it's not a huge commitment. And so like once you pick it up, like, you know, you're kind of like locked in and on like just that perfect amount of like, I'm going to know exactly what's going on before the end of this race.
Yeah. There's something to be said for dropping into these lesser races at like 38 kilometers to go, 41 kilometers to go, you know, like it's like perfect. Like there's going to be plenty of action. Like any major action that happens in this race will be happening from here, you know, like,
yes. And
going to take an hour.
You get Danny Rowe and Hannah Walker on the call.
Exactly.
All right.
You get Danny Rowe and Hannah Walker.
And they do a great job of just getting you completely into it really, really fast. And
because they know this stuff inside and out, the two of them. They know all these riders. They do their homework, but they're also both just like so deeply involved in this world that like, I mean, it's as in terms of the insight that you are gaining from the commentary, it's as good as anything out there.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay.
Then you got the environs. Let's talk about Mallorca for a second. I just love how it's like this windswept, like wild place out in the middle of the Mediterranean, and like pro cycling descends upon this tiny little island, you know, for like a good week and a half with men and women. And it's got the weirdness of them each being their own race. We talked about this last year. There used to be like this whole thing where they were tied together and people were fighting for an overall prize, but like now, not so much. And it's just interesting history there.
But it's
really
cool. Like
racing.
it's cool now that I understand it, and I'm like seeing it for a second year. It's super cool how like you get different combinations of riders throughout the 3 days. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun in that way. Like, you get a couple of the same people, but then like you get 2 days with this person and a day with this person. Or
we talked about this a lot last year. Like that used to be part of the sort of the gamesmanship and strategizing for these things, especially on the men's side when you have like 5 races going. You know, it's like if you've got a certain rider that has, like for example, if you've got an absolutely phenomenal climber and two of the five races have nasty climbs at the end that this guy could really excel in, whereas in a normal stage race, like, well, too bad, he's still gonna have to ride all the rest of this stuff. He's still gonna have to stay safe.
Right.
With the challenge in Mallorca, you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
So
It's very cool.
which I wish they still had a prize for
Like
the
the
overall.
Yeah.
I
that'd
don't
be
think
cool.
they do anymore, but I could be wrong about that. But I don't think they do anymore. Nonetheless,
So
great racing.
when
Really
I pick
great
it up,
racing.
there's a 5-person break with Natalie Quinn, Mayen Mobana. I don't know. I'm going to mess up this name. My Pie and Van or
I
my
don't know. I don't know that one.
yeah.
I know Petra Sevchikova, Marta
Maybe
Pavesi,
it's My Pie is the name, and then Anne Van Royen,
yeah, Anne Van Royen,
Marta
Eva
Pavesi,
Anguilla,
yes, Ava Anguilla, and Petra Skrikova.
and Natalie Quinn is from the U.S.
Yes. Um, and it just kind of goes like that. The break stays out, pretty well, deep into the race.
It's cold. It's windy. The
Yes.
Peloton's moving super fast. Megan Jastrab is out there with her new team at UAE ADQ, and she's got to love landing on that team, as we'll see. Roysa from Movistar was out there. Allison Jackson with her new team.
Yes.
Saul Michel, she's out there. And the gap is like yo-yoing. It gets reduced down to just Van Royen, Pavese, and Anguilla,
Yes.
who are up to about like 128 at the 26.4 kilometer to go margin, but that gap seems to be going up.
Yes. Gap climbed up. So it looked like it was like gonna be done, and then it went back up to a minute. It was at 21K. I clocked it at 2:48
Yeah.
before they started
As high as 251, actually.
the Puy de San Salvador, which is the final climb. The
Mhm.
gap was at a minute 50, and that was you were right with Van Royen, Pavesi, and then Guella are the remaining riders. And then I have it going down to 110. At 7K, it was down to a minute. 6K, 45 seconds. 5K, 27 seconds. 4K, break finished.
Yeah. So throughout this section, it's looking at first like the break's going to go all the way. Um, by 11K to go, they've lost almost 2 minutes. You got Marlon Roysa, one of my fantasy squad members, on the front trying to bring things back together. 7.3K to go. It's still over a minute, but they're headed into the climb. Movistar's trying to control in the front. She's got two teammates, super solid lead out into the base of the climb. So like Movistar is looking real strong. It's so interesting the way like on the women's side, Movistar is this like badass team, and
Yes.
you used to have like Annemiek Van Vleuten there, and like it's just
Now you got Leanna Lippert
right,
and
right. It's
Marlon
just this badass
Roysa
team.
and Kat
Yeah,
Ferguson. There's so many exciting things
I
going
love
on in
it.
that team.
I love it, and it's just this rough and wild place out there, Mallorca. The landscape they're going through, but through 5K to go, Royce has still got one person with her. I can't remember who it was.
So so the I have it as Hosset, Swinkles, Squibon, Roysa, Persico, and Eamon were all on the front, going in at like 4K to go.
Yeah, yep. About like that. Royce is playing it smart. She's like fourth wheel behind the UAE girls. They catch the break at 4K to go. Riders being injected out the back. This is clearly becoming like
Much harder. Yeah.
the group that is going to feature in the finish of this race. And my whole thought is this is going to be Roysa versus Squibon. And as it turned out,
At
that's
2K, they went clear, and it
yeah.
was they were all that was left.
Yeah. And now Squibon is just attacking. She is just in the mode. She starts throwing it at Roysa. And it becomes clear immediately that everyone else is now dusted. Squibon puts in the attack. Roysa barely gets onto her wheel, and the rest of them are gone.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
they
yeah.
can't even come
She
close
attacked
to
her
doing this kind of
3
acceleration.
times, like really deep.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
on the third one, she started getting that was when she was starting to get like little separations from Roysa.
Right, right. And I love how this is playing out on this absolutely magnificent backdrop. This road is just like so cool. It's so cool. Um,
Only to be topped with the one that from today's race, man. The end of today's race was so brutal.
so I will admit that at 1 kilometers to go, when they're 22 seconds up, I'm thinking to my and Roysa is like behind a squibby. Um, I'm thinking Royce has got this sewn up. Like she's gonna outfox her here. She's been, kind of uh trying to bait her by acting the way she has, and that she's not as weak and as beaten as she looks.
And I think
Uh
I think it was the complete opposite. I think Squeebon was strong, and that she almost had her. I think she almost dropped her a little bit before this, and I was honestly surprised that Roysa was still hanging on as strong as she was going into the last few meters.
right. Well, as they go through like through like 800 to go, Squeebon is still out front. Royce is yo-yoing kind of, but 500 meters to go, she's back on, and they keep showing, like they keep going back to the chasing group. Like it is hotting
Super
up in the
annoying. Yeah.
front of this race, and they keep showing the chasing. I'm like, what are you doing? Um, Suddenly, when they go back with Royce and Squeebon, Royce is leading it out, right? And they've basically got like a right turn, a left turn, and then they're straight up to the finish.
Well, and
And
that the move on the final turn, Squibman took the inside line on the final turn, and it was the move of the day because she was able to get that little bit of a just angle on Roysa, and I mean she looked like a rider. She looked like a very much more experienced rider the way
yeah,
she took that final turn.
that was a cheeky move. The commentators called it as an elbow when it first happened, and it was exciting, and it was happy. It was, if you're watching it live, the first time through or whatever, you might miss things. But I thought I saw an elbow, and I'm like, whoa, could she possibly get relegated here? Is that possible? Because like she came through that inside. The commentators were like, whoa, but they were saying that not because of the elbow, but because she almost went off the road. And right at that spot where she almost went off the road, there was only like 8 inches of like a little bit of like grassy tufts, and then there was like the edge of a bridge, or the edge of a little retaining wall,
Yeah.
that she goes over that and she's tumbling down the side of the mountain. So it was very close. And I think that's why they were like, whoa. But they said, oh, she gives her a little elbow. And I'm like, oh my God. So, and I wrote in my notes, could she be relegated for that elbow? And as they start showing the replays, they keep cutting out just before that moment, just before that little moment when she squeaks through. And I'm getting frustrated because I really want to see, like, is this in the offing? And so I paused it and I just went back and watched the live, and then I rewound the live version of it where you were clearly watching them several times. And in the end, I think, nah, she didn't. Everything is good to go. She deserved to win. She didn't elbow her. Her elbow popped out to try to maintain her balance, but it did not hit Roysa. And Roysa did not seem to be in any way bothered
Phased by it. Yeah.
by that. There was no change in expression or anything. I don't think Royce saw it as illegal, and I don't think it was really an elbow in terms of an infraction. It was an elbow going up to keep your balance. So yeah, Squeebon, the woman whose name I couldn't pull last week during the show,
Yeah.
um
Gets her first win of the year.
and I mean, she joined the world stage in a huge way last year, winning two back-to-back stages of the Tour de France, and setting up the final two for her countrywoman Pauline Ferrand-Prévot to see France go finish the Tour de France with 4 straight wins.
Yep.
Pretty sick.
But yeah, so can we? So you have
Move
anything?
on to move on to the
move
trophy Luc Mayor on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do it.
So, I really I don't have a lot of notes. We had a snowstorm over the weekend, and so I don't have a ton of notes. But essentially, this race to me it comes down to a sprint. There wasn't a lot going on.
It was one of these women's races. I think it plays out this way a lot. I think that Lorena Vivas was involved in these types of races on a couple of occasions last year. A breakaway group with a couple of strong sprinters will get away, and there'll be like 8 people in it, and they'll get away and they'll stay away.
Right.
And that's what happened. Like that this is sort of like a set piece that I for some reason I feel like you see this play out in women's racing more. I could be, totally wrong. Nonetheless,
It's like its own separate mini peloton.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we got nasty crosswinds on this thing, mad echelons forming on this thing, and that's how this
Right,
this
that's how it
group got
happened.
away. This front group. Magdalena Valieres is in there. She was the race winner two years ago. So when she won the world championships, we sort of had to cast our mind back. What has she won before? Where have I heard her name before? She won this race 2 years ago. Have to mention the Spanish national champions kit
Is sick.
Oh my God, it's going on the list. It's like one of the tops for the year. It's going to go on
It
my.
looks
on
great.
my-
It's like
my
dark
notes.
blue with the Spanish flag. It's so good.
It's sick.
By the way,
and then
just real quick before we even get into, because we'll talk more jerseys, but I don't want to forget. Derek G came out and said, I saw this on social media yesterday, there will be a different kit. They are working on one that was just like the hastily made kit.
yes, Thank
So,
God.
but they don't
Thank
want
God,
to sponsor
because
on the Maple Leaf. So there's
the
like,
saddest, most pathetic Maple Leaf sitting on his little tubby tummy, hanging out was just like
Yeah.
so wildly inappropriate.
all right. So,
I mean, it's only like an inch over his junk. You know
It's-
what I'm saying?
I know,
That's where,
it's just
that's where you
like-
put the Canadian.
it's such a juxtaposition with how
flag.
good the Spanish national championships
I mean,
kit
just
is.
put it on his shorts. Put it across his ass if you're going to go that way. Come on, folks. Let's do something about this. All right. So basically, our girl Kat Ferguson is in that leading group.
Yes.
In the
And
leading
she looks
group, and
very strong.
yeah, and I did not make much note of who else was in that group, but there was only 4 teams really represented in the top 10 in the end. There were 3 Movistars, there were 2 UAEs. I mean, 4 UAE 80Qs. There were 2 Lidl Treks, and there was 1 Uno X. So those teams all emerging in this race as the strong teams and the teams to beat. Did you make notes about the sprint?
I didn't make any notes about who was in it. I mean, the little Trek, one of the little Trek riders was in second, and one of the UAE riders was in third. But the big thing is that Movistar's 19-year-old phenom Kat Ferguson takes the win with 2 bike lengths. I mean, she looked
It was one of those
very
straightforward
strong
cat
in the
sprints, dead flat and straight down, windy, nasty day. And she just powers past everybody, does what she does best.
She looked really, really good.
Yeah. Movistar now has a second and a win in 2 days in Mallorca. UAE now has a third and a win in Mallorca. Interesting. I mean, those
Especially
are the teams.
going into day 3.
Especially going into day 3. Totally just and what's so cool about it is the cast of characters keeps changing each day.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's like so cool.
So, because all right, so introduce race 3. Let's go ahead and jump
race
right
3,
into it.
we had the trophy Binasalam Port d'Andrates on Monday, and that on Monday.
And again,
I picked
bad
it
weather.
up about 19 kilometers to go.
Bad weather, and they shortened the race by 33K.
Ah.
Just FYI, I don't know if you caught that at the beginning.
No, I missed. I did. I literally picked it up live this morning at 19 kilometers to go. So anything before 19, please illuminate us.
Autostad and Ferguson were in a bigger break. It was kind of similar to the way that it was yesterday. Lippert and Ferguson, Swinkles and Gasparini all go into the last climb together, which is the big, where all the fireworks, in my opinion, happen.
Yeah. When I picked it up, I saw Ferguson out there. I didn't realize that it was a climby finish. I had just completely not seen that and had not remembered from last year. Once I saw the climb, I was
Very
like,
climby.
oh my God, I remember this last year. This was
Yeah.
crazy because this is one of those races where it's just a gnarly climb on the
Yes.
end of this
It's.
race.
I mean, it literally looks like it's straight up.
Yeah, some of those pitches are
Yeah.
ridiculous. So yeah, I had no idea, and I see that Ferguson is in with a teammate Lippert, and I'm like,
She's
oh,
just
so
doing the work for
sweet.
Lippert.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
no idea. As
Yeah.
it turned out, she was the first person to drop off of that group. So the group there was Thalita de Jong from Human Powered Health, a former winner here, uh, Deborah Silvestri of Laboral, Anna Henderson, Lidl Trek, Ferguson and Lippert from Movistar, and then Swinkles and Eleonora Gasparini, who won 2 years ago from UAE, and the aforementioned Odestad, Mia Odestad from Uno X. That is a quality group out there. That is a
Yes.
quality group. There are a bunch of hitters out there. Bunch of
Well,
hitters.
Swinkles and Lippert are very good, and Odestad, it was a revelation last year.
Right. And Ferguson and Thalita de Jong. Like
Yeah.
these are all people. Anna Henderson. Like
But I mean, like looking
quality
at this,
group.
I don't. I mean, I'm not looking at Cat Ferguson to win this stage because it gets
Right.
so hard at the end.
Which I realized the minute she dropped off, they were like, all right, and Kat's gone. She's done her work. And I was like, oh, this isn't and then almost immediately they start going uphill. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
right. So now I'm trying to like reorganize my mind and like watch, how this thing is starting to play out. Amidst the once again just incredible environs. They are going up the side of this like mountain road. They're going under those avalanche tunnels that they
Yes.
go through. I mean, it is just looking wild. At one point, they go past a cute little goat on the side of the road. Did you catch what
I
Hannah
did.
Walker said right there?
Uh,
She goes, "I didn't know Mariana Voss was here."
I did
The
hear her say
goat,
that, but I didn't see what it
the
was.
goat,
What it
the
was meant
goat.
for. Okay.
Yeah.
I did hear her say that.
Yeah. So the gap is like widening, and it's like becoming clear that this break is not going to be caught. Saint Michel, AJ's new team, is on the front of the peloton and working hard, like I guess trying to bring it back together. But it was like that gap was just going up and up and up and up.
Yeah, no, it was that last climb was so hard that it's a wonder.
Yeah, there was no way they were getting caught. Like 7 kilometers ago, they got over a minute on the peloton, and I think this is about when Cat peeled off. So we're looking at De
Lippert,
Jong. It's like the De Jong, Lippert, and
Swinkles,
and Swinkles
Gasparini.
are like kind of the ones to be watching at this point. And we talked about it at the Tour Down Under on the men's side. We got to talk about it on the women's side. Team UAE ADQ, incredible tactics.
Yes.
Incredible tactics. Boom. Gasparini 1.4 blasts off. And she is setting it up because Odestad and Lippert have got to cover here. You know what I'm saying? She is going hard. And so they got to cover it. And Swinkles
Just hangs on.
slots in behind, just slots in behind. No wind resistance whatsoever. Covers their move. And I'm thinking, all right, either way this goes, if it's Lippert or if it's Swinkles, it just puts the cap on a huge weekend for both of these teams.
Yes.
You got to love seeing these two teams who've got a first and second and a first and third going into the final head to head with a spoiler of Odestad in the mix as well.
Yes. And like it was clear that Odestad didn't have the same stuff as the other two. Like she was yo-yoing off the back. She would like make a little bit of headway and then she'd fall back a little bit. So
Yeah, she was struggling.
yeah, it
It
was
was
definitely
Lippert.
down to those two.
Yeah, and it was Lippert that looked to be in the driver's seat. In the final 400 meters, the climb is still at 10%. It's ridiculous. And now Swinkle starts upping the tempo. It's clear that it's going to be a 3-up sprint. Swinkle's too strong, just bests Lippert. 2 wins out of 3 for UAE ADQ after Ameva won on Saturday. They win the weekend.
Yes, they do. And, both Lippert and Odestad really showed well in this race. Like I said, I don't think Odestad quite had it in the end, but what a great 3 days of racing on the women's side. Hopefully the men's is just as interesting.
I really hope so. I feel like last year it was, but yeah, some great racing. Really enjoyed it. All right, let's cap that and talk quickly about the men's Clasica Comunitat Valenciana, a sprinter's race.
Basically, a race you could watch the last 5K of, and you will know everything that happened as far as this race is concerned.
Right. So going into the race, we had the likes of Diego Ulisi, Dylan Groenewegen, Brian Coca, Benjamin Cosnefroy, and what's Conca's first name? Filippo Conca.
Conca.
He's our boy that won the Spanish national championship.
Paul Magnier,
It's
right?
climbing,
Paul Magnier was in this?
and Paul Magnier.
Yeah.
Climbing at the start, pretty flat finish. Last 3 winners: Arnaud Delis in 23, Groenewegen won here in 24, and Mark Hirschi, of all people, won in 2025. That was a surprise to hear that. I picked this thing up with 7K to go. Like I did not watch a lot of this race.
I watched
Anything?
basically the sprint. I had this spoiled for me by accident. It was the only thing for this whole week long where I was watching most things live, but a couple of things I was not watching live. And of course, one of the 3 things I didn't watch live this week got spoiled for me.
Well, let me say this. Actually, this is funny. There's a little bit of symmetry here, although it sort of disproves the point I was making. This was kind of that same situation that I was talking about that you get in a lot of women's races, a strong group off the front that's never coming back.
Right.
And it was abundantly clear at 7 kilometers to go. This group was looking strong. There's a bunch of them. There's 17 people. Groenewegen's in there with 3 teammates from his new team, Unibet Rose Rockets. Manier's in there with 2 quick step teammates. Bunch of other dudes. They got 25 seconds on the bunch with 5.5 to go. Like the gap is not changing at all.
Correct. The ending, however, I'm not gonna lie, it surprised me a little bit.
Absolutely. Basically going into it, you're like, okay, this is going to be Groenewegen versus Paul Magnier.
Right.
It's got to be those 2, right?
Yes. Turned out a little differently. Turned out it was the Groenewegen show.
Well, yeah, and going into it, Magnier was much better positioned. He was tucked in. He had a couple of dudes in front of him, looking really good.
Looking to pick up right where he left off at the end of the season.
Exactly. Strangely, no helicopter coverage for this race. Did you notice that?
I did notice that.
That was really annoying because helicopter coverage is very effective for being able to analyze sprints when they are happening. And we were not getting that. So it was kind of hard to pick out what was really happening in this thing, which was a shame. But yeah, the Dylan Groenewegen show, he gets a perfect lead out and wins handily.
Yes.
Magnier didn't seem like he had the legs, even though he was so well positioned by his team.
But Groenewegen just looked so strong. I mean, he looked hulking for one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
a beast of a man.
Enormous.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is, I don't want to get to it, but as far as the race is concerned, he comes in, a good 3 bikes in front of Magnier. It was never even in jeopardy. Comes through looking very strong, and I absolutely love this kit. Okay, the presence of this kit going across the line. I put a picture in my in my notes. But there's two things. If you look up this kit and you go his picture on PCS, it says Unibet across the front. But
do you have pictures of this in your notes?
Yeah, if you scroll down, and you'll see the picture of his picture from PCS it says Unibet across the chest. Okay. But that's not what the kit had yesterday. If you
Oh, yeah,
zoom
look at
in on
that.
the kit,
Yeah.
it says Rockets right across the front.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
it looks so good. If you zoom in on the picture
Yeah.
on that I put in there, it looks, I mean, this kid is awesome.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I
The
love the way
pink
you're calling him a
helmet, the
kid.
pink
He's
accents
like,
on the
oh,
shorts.
this kid is awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
It's like magenta. It's like fuchsia and purple on the sleeves with like stripes. It's wild.
Yeah, there's so much going on, but it looks so cool.
I love it. Love it.
So, but yeah, Dylan Groenewegen goes to a new team and grabs an early season win.
Good on him. Gives one hope. And he is an absolute monster now that you're talking about that picture.
Yeah, when you look at that one of him crossing the line, he just looks huge.
Indeed. Yeah, all right. So Groenewegen is on the board for 2026.
Yes, he is. Groenewegen is
A
on the board.
long career goes still longer.
All right. So, do we want to roll? So, do we want to roll into some other racing stuff now?
Yeah, well, do you have kit stuff that you want to talk about? Is that part?
Yeah,
part of what you wanna talk
it'll
about?
feed into it. I'll do that. I want to talk about kits, but we'll do that at the end. There was just a couple other things that went on that I do want to just kind of point out. Just some couple of news tidbits, and then
Go ahead.
and then
Roll.
another. So there was another race during this week, the Clasica Comunitat Morvedre 2026. Christian Scaroni took the victory after a late attack there.
I was spoiled. It was Phil Liggett said during coverage that Michael Matthews had won something. What did Michael Matthews win?
There was another race called.
I'm gonna look Matthews up on PC.
Hold on, look up this race because there was one thing that I had in my notes. The Gran Premio Castellón.
That's what he won.
Did he win that?
He won the Gran Premio Castellón.
There you go.
Ruta de la Ceramica.
So that is what he won.
He did not. He DNF'd the Clasica Comp de Movedra, which is the other one you were talking about.
Yes,
and then
Christian
the
Scaroni
very
won that.
next day he came back and won the Gran Premio Castellón. All right, I want to watch that.
Okay.
I want to see Bling Matthews winning a race, and what happened in the Clasica Comp de Movedra.
So I did not. There was a late attack and Christian Scaroni took the victory.
All right.
So straight into the deep end for George Hencappy's Modern Adventure World Tour team. They are going to make their debut against Vingegaard and Evenepoel at the Volta a Catalunya. So we are going to see another American team racing at Catalunya this year.
All right. Well, I'm whatever about that team, but
hey, look, man, I'm
excited to see Evenepoel and Vingegaard going head to head.
Yes. Apparently, based on photos from Instagram, Wout van Aert is back at training camp in Spain and looking almost to be doing another, back into a proper workload already, which is
Are we
crazy.
scared? Should we be scared about that? Is that weird? Like,
No, I don't. I don't think they're putting him back on a bike if he's not fully intact. So, I really doubt that they would put him in jeopardy. So, if he's back on the bike, I'm guessing that he's been cleared to be back on the bike. It's not like he's off training on his own.
all right.
So, I do want to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to talk about the Pune Grand Tour. You told me last week when I brought up the Pune Grand Tour in India that I needed to come with receipts on the outcome.
What about the next thing in your notes, though, Derek G?
Oh, that is what I was.
Were you saving that for Kit Talk?
Well, that's something else we had kind of already talked about it earlier. So I did. Yeah, I threw that Instagram post in there. That is him talking about his the fact that the kit that he wore got a lot of his first kit with his new team took some heat for it because it kind of looks like shit.
Yeah. Okay. In a way, if you look at it the right way, it's like a little cock and balls.
It's like
The way
it's like
shaped.
it's like Adam's leaf.
Yeah. It's silly.
It's so weird.
All right, go ahead. Go on to your next one.
All right, so the Pune Grand Tour
Pune Grand Tour.
concluded. It was dominated by the continental team Li Ning Star from China.
Leaning Star from China.
Yes. So it was the overall winner was Luke Mudgway.
A New Zealander.
Yes,
Luke Mudgway
from New Zealand on the Li Ning Star team.
Crikey, mate.
He also took the points classification. Clement Alano from France for the Burgos Berpellet BH team took the King of the Mountain. The young rider was Viego Thiessen from Netherlands. Westerpoolug Groot Amsterdam.
Wait, I want to take a crack at that name. Weilerplug Groot Amsterdam. Weilerplug Groot Amsterdam.
So
you don't need to go through every single one of them.
No, so it was essentially just dominated by one team. But I did want to point out, please scroll down into my notes. There is a team from the Philippines that rides with the 7-Eleven on their kit.
Look at my guys. Look at these guys.
Yes.
Good on them. Good on them.
Right?
Looking good. They got the bright red with the 7-Eleven logo, the orange.
Yes, that
green.
is the 7-Eleven team from the Philippines.
That jersey, man, it is beloved the world over. From Belgium to which team was it last year?
Uno X. Uno X
from Norway. From Norway to China to the Philippines. The 7-Eleven logo is beloved.
Yes.
All right, what else you got?
So that just leads me into an overall kit talk. You can see I did throw in some photos here. Mm-hmm. Don't scroll down too far. So you can see that we have a lot of new kits from the World Tour. I personally think that the new Pinarello Q36 uniform is very, very nice. You had mixed reviews. And again, I'm going to give A grades to, I think, Bahrain's new kit.
Wait, go back to Pinarello. I will say this, and we agreed about this last week on the ladies' side. An all-black uniform, it's got something going for it. Just by virtue of it being all black, by having a black chest and black sleeves upon which some sort of logo is put over, that's already a good start. Right. And we talked about Demi Vollering's FDJ Suez team that is looking like assassins this year. They look like ninjas in that black jersey. So I will give you that. I find the rest of it, the words and stuff, to be meh. At least Tudor has got a ridiculously oversized knight's shield going across theirs. Like Pinarello is just a couple of words. Like there's just nothing to it. Like it needs something. It lacks something.
But we talked about the Unibet Rose Rockets kit, which is very, very good as well.
That's Wild Times. Where is it? Is it not
it's
on
bottom right.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
there
bottom
it is.
Right.
Those sleeves.
Ineos.
Again,
I'm liking Ineos's Lotto. Shocker is red. Intermarché just gets thrown on the red background.
But you know what? The way that they have Lotto on the shoulders of that uniform it's got its own kind of iconic resonance. I feel like that's a thing with that kid, is the shoulder-borne Lotto logo, and I'm here for it. Going back to Ineos, I still think that Total Energies logo on the stomach is just a hot mess.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
not great.
It's got to be there.
It's not great.
That could just be like on the back or something. I don't know.
But the Red Bull is definitely rising. But I'm telling you, I give a much better grade this year to Bahrain Victorious' kit. I like the black with the green instead of the white with the green.
I do not know where I'm looking for.
Top left, second one in.
Way up at the top.
Yep, second one in.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that is definitely an upgrade.
Take it.
And there's some more pictures of some of those down below, but then I want you to go all the way to just stop before you get to my Broom Wagon. Kim Lacourt Pinard's new Mauritian National Championship jersey is at the bottom there. I want to get your opinion on this.
I want to give some snap reactions here to the picture beforehand.
Okay.
The Phoenix Premier Tech jersey on the women's side, though I really, really hope. I feel like the only one I've seen is the orange, and I feel like the orange is the one that's most closely associated with the team. But do not forget that this is a team that had a scheme of
3
one
last year.
one solid color, but 3 interchangeable colors. It was like army green and like this cool dark blue.
Yeah.
So I hope that's back. Second comment, the Movistar jersey just always looks good. There's something about that logo. That is a great logo to have emblazoned across your chest.
But what I really like about their new kit is like the like marbling that they put through with the blue, with like that lighter blue. Oh, it looks good.
Yeah. I mean, I can take or leave that. It looks good. I agree. But what I like is that Movistar has got light blue, dark blue, white. Do any combination of those 3 with logo and background, and it's going to look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Groupama FDJ kit is just so French, in my opinion, if you see it down kind of at the bottom. I mean, that is just quintessential France.
Agreed. It's, yeah. It doesn't fill my sails. Kim LaCour, Pinar's New Jersey. Holy crap. I did not realize. So they have divorced themselves from her old jersey. It was like that. It's like that insect that walks to the middle of a leaf, and its color is the same color as the leaf, and right down the middle of its spine, it's got the lighter area that mimics the lighter area down the middle of the leaf, and it can just stand in the middle of the leaf and not be seen. That's what Kim LaCour's old Mauritian national champs jersey was like, cleverly hiding behind the world champions jersey. It's completely different.
It is, but I'm here for it. I think
it's cool as heck.
And mixed with the helmet.
Yes, she's got the same helmet basically with the colors, but see, they did it right on this jersey. Look, they made the AG logo and the Soudal logo, both of those reasonable size that they could be smashed into the one blue stripe across the breast, leaving the bottom 2 sections empty. Perfect. Just about two color blocks supporting the overall design. And then, they splotch in all of the rest of the ubiquitous logos for teams like this, all over the orange at the top. It's not getting in the way. It looks great.
I know. I thought so too. I was like, "Ooh, wow! I am very, very, very in on that jersey. I can't wait to see it on the road."
Super cool.
Yep.
Love it. And the one thing I wanted to mention in terms of kit, did you see the one photo I included in my notes? You must have seen this photo already.
Did. Oh, yes. So there's a whole photo shoot for that.
This is my new favorite photo.
There's a whole photo shoot.
Sweet.
Yeah, you need to go to you need to follow them on Instagram. Like, go to the Red Bull, the Borough Red
Pretty
Bull.
Sure
Borough
I do follow them on Instagram. You for season 2 change, you need to follow them on Instagram too. You should look at your Instagram.
Yeah.
Because you mention this team's Instagram every 3rd show.
Yeah, you should look at.
Because I'm asking you something about it.
But they're doing a thing, and I'm here for all of it.
Yeah, I love it. Primos look so freaking cool in this thing. It's like somewhere between like the Beastie Boys and like I don't know
Hugo
what it is.
Boss ad.
Yeah. Lipowitz back there. They look like, I want to see the movie that these 3 guys are in. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the
Guy Ritchie
film with these 3 guys looking the way they're looking in this photograph, just looking hard. Remco looks so hard in that photo. He's got the one hand tucked into the pocket, the one hand out. Like, yeah, I'm ready to ball this hand up.
You got to see the other photo that he did where he's like in his full kit. It's like he's like sitting on a chair in his full kit with sunglasses on, and he just looks
with a fur coat draped over his shoulder.
He's just like sitting in like a beach chair with his full kit and sunglasses on, and he just looks. And the sunglasses are gold. Oh.
Right. I will check it out, but do me a favor and throw in a link to that photo shoot.
I will.
Can you do that?
Yes.
All right. Anything else before we proceed on to the Broom Wagon?
That is all the news that is fit to print.
All right, we will take one more break right there, and when we come back, it's Broom Wagon time. All right, we are back. It's Broom Wagon time. Now, normally, Justin, the host kicks to the other person and then does theirs at the end. Would you like me to get my very quick Broom Wagon out of the way and then let you have the floor for the remainder of the show?
Sure, that's whatever you want. So,
all right, I want to give a shout out to a podcast that we've recommended many times on this show before, What's Occurring. Here's what I'll say. When you spend a protracted amount of time with a podcast and you get to know the hosts of the show, the protagonists, if you will, you sort of start to feel like part of the family. And what I love about the What's Occurring podcast is that from the time we started listening to it until now, we have got to see both of these guys be active riders on the team. It was a show that is an inside look at two riders on a team, albeit one of them is a former Tour de France winner with a lot of cachet, with a lot of money in the bank. But we're getting to see that view. Then Luke Rowe peels off and immediately joins in team leadership. He becomes an assistant DS or whatever for decathlon, right?
Yep.
Right. So he's over at the super team. So he's probably got a nice paycheck and he's like in the mix and he is working hard for that team. And we get to see Geraint Thomas's last year and Luke Rowe's first year on the coaching side of things. Right. And so you get all that insight and these two and the interplay back and forth. And now, as we mentioned early on the show, Geraint Thomas has retired. He had his big send off and he is the director of racing, right?
Director of racing is official title
at Team Ineos, and they just had Tour Down Under. He was there, and a lot of success.
Luke Rowe was there with his team.
Yep. Luke Rowe was there with his team. They won Ineos. Luke Rowe's team got a stage win in the first stage, but Ineos got the prologue, and then they got the Welsford. So Ineos went away with two, including the prologue. Decathlon, just the one, but still had a great showing. Both of the guys were there. And when they did their show after that race, it was just everything coming full circle. They're both
I can't wait to listen to this. I'm so in on this.
You're just like, how has this happened? Like, this is amazing. Like, they are still in the mix. You know what I'm saying? Still like chopping it up. I mean, just as good as it gets, when you get in there with a podcast and you hang in, when those people in those podcasts hit a milestone, it just means so much more. So a shout out to What's Occurring podcast, to Geraint Thomas and Luke Rowe. Justin, the floor is yours.
All right. So as if we don't talk about Matthew van der Poel on this show enough, we're going to talk about him at least right now for a little bit, because
we did dedicate a whole show to him.
This guy,
5 shows ago.
This guy just completed a cyclocross season for the ages. All right. So first off, let's start by saying that he did not lose a cyclocross race this season. All right. In fact, he hasn't lost a cross race in 2 seasons. In fact, his win streak goes back 3 seasons before you'll find a loss. And other than that loss in Benidorm in 2024, you'd have to go back another 13 races to January 8th, 2023 to find his second to last loss on the cross trek. All right. That means that he has not lost. He has 1 loss in his last 37 races. All right.
Were we missing the forest for the trees when we were talking about our girl that we talked about 2 or 3 episodes ago?
Yes, don't get me wrong. It's the way that it all comes together that's so amazing. All right. So that's a over 97% win rate since January 22nd of 2023, when he lost at Benidorm. All right. 1 year later, at that very same racetrack, he would be dealt his only loss of the last 3 seasons, which was a 5th place that saw 3 Belgian cross superstars, Eli Iserbit, Thibaut Nice, and Michael van Houwerhout. All right, all finish in front of him, but they were all bested that day by none other than a fourth Belgian rider, superstar Wout van
I knew you were
Aert.
going to say it. I knew.
All right. Now, as interesting as all of that is, there's one more layer to this onion. All right. In the 24-25 season, he skipped Benidorm. One could assume it was because it was the site of his last loss.
It's his weakness. He has trouble with that.
So hold on. So this season, he was poised to pass it up again. All right, when his road racing teammates convinced him to enter the race at the last minute, all right, because the Spanish cross race was so close to their training camp for the Alpecin Premier Tech team in Valencia, which, in the Valencia region of Spain, which is where the team is, where they train.
Well,
all right.
Just do it. Just do it, man.
Yes, exactly. So for a guy that decided to show up late to the party, he wasted no time getting out front and never relinquishing the lead that day. Van der Poel worked the crowd on the run up to the finish, high-fiving spectators before pulling up on one wheel to cross the finish line. He finished 30 seconds ahead of former European and current Belgian national champion Thibaut Nice, who is probably the next best cyclocross rider in the world right now. All right. But he couldn't be further from Mathieu van der Poel in form and dominance. And that brings us to this weekend. All right. The last two races of the season, Masmes Cologne and Hoogerheide, all right, on Saturday and Sunday. Van der Poel made it 35 and 36 wins out of 37 attempts. That's a 97.3% win rate. He secured his second Cyclocross World Cup title and a record 51 World Cup wins. All right, he completed his second perfect season in a row and has cemented his place atop the cyclocross world as King Mathieu of the Cross. He now looks forward to February 1st in his home country of the Netherlands, where Holst hosts the Cyclocross World Championships. His attempt to grab his 8th World Championship, and from this fan's perspective, it seems to be a foregone conclusion to the most dominant run in men's cyclocross history. Chapeau, Mathieu van der Poel.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see that. I hope it's broadcast on something we have.
Isn't that just like?
Yeah. He has to be like when he retires, he has to be one of the top 2 Dutch cyclists of all time.
I mean, the cyclocross
he has
alone,
to be the face of Dutch cycling.
Just imagine, there's a whole subset of people in the cycling world that don't realize that he is the greatest cyclocross rider ever. All right. And then there's a whole bunch of cyclocross riders that could care less, and cyclocross fans that could care less that he's so good in the pro ranks.
It's crazy,
right? And I mean, just utter dominance. She did end up taking the World Cup as well, by the way. You had mentioned. Why is her name escaping me right now? We did a whole show on her.
Lucinda Brand.
Thank you. Lucinda Brand did end up securing her World Cup title this weekend as well. But it was the Mathieu van der Poel show, man. And he dominated this weekend too. It was so great. But his win at Benidorm was so awesome, dude. He went up on one wheel. He did the whole thing. He was high-fiving got to be 50 people on the run-in. It was so great.
I definitely have to check that out for sure. And 100% have to try to watch that Cyclocross World Championship on February 1. That sounds amazing.
So,
well, chapeau to you, Mathieu van der Poel. This podcast will never tire of talking about you. And that is all for this week. Join us next week for full coverage of Cadell's Week in sunny Australia, mate, as well as the men's Mallorca challenges, the men's GP Marseille, and the Pionera race. Until then, for my brother Justin, I'm Matt Harper. Thanks for listening. We hope you'll join us again soon for another ride on the Team Bus. Allez!
The Team Bus is a production of Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe, smash that button, leave a 5-star review, and most importantly, tell all your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Allez!